Hi there, everyone. Welcome to another exciting and informative edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Katie Aloy Knight, turning the pages with you as we assess the hurricane damage to the agriculture sector. Sit back and relax for all that and more in this half-hour journey you don't want to miss. It all unfolds right here after this important message.
The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin will be conducting the 2025 Jamaica Survey of Living Conditions JSLC starting August 2025. For over 30 years, PIOJ analysis of JSLC data has helped to shape national policy, including on education, healthcare, and social support. When the JSLC team visits your home, participate. Your voice helps guide real solutions. For more information, visit statinja.gov.jm or WhatsApp Statin at 876-569-1083.
Good day, I'm Jabertha Atkinson, and this is your JIS News for Monday, November 24, 2025. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has reiterated the call for adequate climate financing for small island developing states, SIDS, in light of the impact of Hurricane Melissa, classified as one of the most powerful storms ever recorded in the Atlantic. Dr. Holness made the call on Sunday to heads of states and senior government officials at the G20 summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. It was held on November 22 and 23 under the theme Solidarity, Equality and Sustainability. Addressing a plenary session of the summit, Prime Minister Holness urged the G20 to preserve and strengthen the IMF Resilience and Sustainability Trust, which provides developing countries with relatively low-cost financing and longer maturities.
We also call for innovative, flexible financing solutions, such as thematic bonds for climate adaptation and blended finance structures to support resilient infrastructure designed to meet the unique needs of climate-vulnerable economies.
Prime Minister Holness further urged support in technological upgrading and productive capacity enhancement, as well as integrating multidimensional vulnerability indices into eligibility and financing terms and climate funds. This will allow countries to invest in resilience without compromising fiscal stability. Another initiative put forward is for the establishment of a loss and financing window with clear rules-based triggers for timely and predictable support. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security has so far completed damage assessments of over 17,000 households with approximately 47,000 persons recorded as being impacted by Hurricane Melissa. The assessments are being conducted using the Jamaica Household Disaster Impact and Needs Assessment Form, which has been digitized to improve the speed, accuracy, and accessibility of the data collected.
It's not only faster because as you use the tablet or the phone with the application, it's immediately uploaded, and so it eliminates the need for that data re-entry. But it also eliminates the mistakes that come with having to move data from one place to the next. The tool allows us to capture images and retain also GPS coordinates of the relevant locations.
The Minister of Labour and Social Security gave the update during a press briefing last Thursday. He revealed that a disaster self-reporting platform was also being introduced on the ministry's website to allow households to submit their information online. During another press briefing last week, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness revealed that the rebuilding allocation process would be guided by the data collected once the evaluations reach an initial assessment threshold of 30,000 households.
Now, we're not going to wait until we have assessed every single house, but we do need to reach a critical threshold where we begin to see how the damage is stacking up from a statistical point of view. So we know how much to allocate for minor repairs, how much to allocate for moderate repairs, and how much to allocate for severe.
In the meantime, the Labor and Social Security Ministry is reporting that over 60,000 food packages have so far been delivered to residents in hard-hit parishes. Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says the relief has already reached communities in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, and sections of Manchester and St. Anne.
The food packages are containing protein sources including canned meat, fish and beans, as well as powdered milk. They also contain canned vegetables, staples such as rice, flour, cornmeal and crackers, as well as essential condiments such as oil and sugar. And beyond food, we continue to provide hygiene kits, tarpaulins, blankets, mattresses, bottled water, solar lanterns, cleaning agents, tabletop stoves, all guided, as I said previously, by the needs identified in our field assessments.
The distribution effort is being supported by the Jamaica Defence Force and other partners and includes about 140 airdrops to communities cut off by flooding and damaged infrastructure. Minister Charles Jr. says the ministry has now shifted from the urgent push to get food into impacted communities to a more strategic scheduled distribution plan based on real-time needs and field assessments. All permitting and approval entities in hurricane-affected parishes, such as municipal corporations, are being tasked with creating a fast-track committee to give approvals for all impacted hotels that are in the process of rebuilding. This will benefit hoteliers along the tourism corridor, spanning Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth through Westmoreland, Hanover, Trelawney, St. Anne and St. James. That's a charge from Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness as he steers the country into a path of economic recovery.
In other words, what I'm satisfied with is that the hoteliers are ready to rebuild. Some of them will have insurance. Some of them are going to consider this an opportunity to rebuild and make their plants better. Government should not be an obstacle in that, because the longer the hotels stay out of operation unnecessarily, the greater the threat to employment and revenue.
Dr. Holness says a similar process will be done for businesses. Leading this accelerated approval process are the Ministers of Tourism and Local Government and Community Development, who had their first meeting on Friday. In the meantime, a December 15 deadline has been given for the full restoration of electricity in the commercial hub of Montego Bay, such as the Elegant Corridor. Prioritization efforts also continue in critical economic zones in St. James, St. Anne and Trelawney. Overall restoration is at 75%. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is assuring that hospitals are equipped to deal with the confirmed cases of leptospirosis in the country. During a virtual press briefing on Friday, Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Telethon said medication was in place to treat with the now confirmed outbreak in the wake of Hurricane Melissa.
It is something that can be managed, can be controlled, can be treated, and we have the support systems, whether it is the public health inspectors on the ground, the supporting agencies of other government ministries, the private sector, and of course you heard from PAHO a short while ago. So it's an all-hands-on-deck approach, and we will pull through this.
8 parishes, namely St. Anne, St. Mary, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. Catherine and Trelawney have reported confirmed or suspected cases. Up to Friday, there were 9 confirmed and 28 suspected cases from October 30, 2025 to November 20, 2025. These are significantly more than the 2 to 21 cases observed in the preceding 34 months. 6 deaths have been reported, all from suspected cases. Dr. Telethon explains that by declaring an outbreak, the country is enabled to activate a faster and more coordinated public health response and unlock resources to limit the scale of the outbreak and reduce pressure on the health system. He reveals that the response includes ensuring reliable drinking water is provided to impacted communities, increasing water supply to health facilities that are having challenges, and making PPEs available for health staff. Government, in conjunction with PAHO and UNICEF, is also pivoting to provide more protective gear and cleaning items such as water boots, latex gloves, masks, and water purification tablets in the distribution of relief packages.
Because what we have found, what the experts say, is that leptospirosis is more a function of the environment and the stagnant water and the spread within that environment, where many people are cleaning up and are exposing themselves. We'll be procuring some 10,000 sets of PPE gear to be distributed in communities to enable persons to take the necessary precaution.
The Caribbean Examination Council, CXC, has agreed to extend Jamaica's examination timetable in response to disruptions caused by Hurricane Melissa. Minister of Education, Senator Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, announced the decision during the sitting of the Senate on Friday.
So we will have a longer period. So our exams will be later than the other territories. So that's already in train. And next week, I will also be able to tell you about lower costs for CXC fees. We've been negotiating lower fees for our students. So that's by next week you'll hear more on what the final amount is.
She adds that no final decision has yet been made regarding the primary exit profile PEP examinations. The minister says targeted strategies will be adopted to ease the burden on students preparing for external exams, including adjustments to deadlines and requirements for school-based assessments, SBAs, and practical examinations.
So we're looking at how we can change the deadlines for those, and there is a lot of flexibility built in. We're also looking at flexibility in syllabus coverage and also cost implications. So we're negotiating with them to bring down the cost given what has happened in Jamaica. Also, provision of options for students who may want to reduce the number of exams they sit based on their situation.
As it relates to the National Vocational Qualification of Jamaica NVQJ, the minister informs that the November sitting has been postponed. She says examinations are tentatively rescheduled for February 2026, with a further option in June 2026 to allow students and institutions adequate time to prepare. The I Love Jamaica Telethon and virtual concert filled the National Indoor Sports Center on Sunday. It brought together public figures and government leaders in raising funds for Hurricane Melissa relief. The concert series is designed to raise an initial $1 million, and within the first hour of the local telethon, $3.4 million Jamaican dollars was donated on the Support Jamaica website. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, says the event gave Jamaicans at home and abroad an opportunity to support the country's rebuilding efforts.
We also wanted to use it as a medium through which every Jamaican could contribute. Even a token, each Jamaican contribute, they would feel that they're playing a part in this great effort. I know we're going to build back stronger. And I know at this time, a lot of Jamaicans are hurting. They've lost everything. And we all have to play our part.
The telethon was broadcast and streamed across multiple platforms, with additional fundraising events planned overseas. For details on how to support the ongoing relief effort, visit the Government of Jamaica Hurricane Relief portal at www.supportjamaica.gov.jm. And finally, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is among many who are saddened at the passing of music legend James "Jimmy" Cliff Chambers. He died on Sunday at the age of 81. Dr. Holness describes Cliff as a true cultural giant whose music carried the heart of our nation to the world. The Prime Minister adds that his music has lifted people through hard times, inspired generations, and helped to shape the global respect that Jamaica culture enjoys today. Dr. Holness goes on to say that through timeless songs like Many Rivers to Cross, The Harder They Come, You Can Get It If You Really Want, and Sitting in Limbo, Jimmy has told our story with honesty and soul. Concluding his tribute, the Prime Minister extends heartfelt condolences to Jimmy's family and loved ones. Leader of the opposition Mark Golding has also paid tribute, pointing out that Jimmy Cliff was the only living reggae musician to hold the Order of Merit. Mr. Goulding adds that his contributions to reggae and Jamaica's global cultural footprint are immeasurable. For her part, Culture and Entertainment Minister Olivia Grange says Jamaica has lost one of its greatest sons.
Reggae night, we come together when the feeling right. Reggae night, and we'll be jamming till the morning light.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Jabertha Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
If you no want pop down and fenke, you fi burn mosquito and run with dengue. So no make water cycle in open container. For them we read up under the danger. Usher them out, run them away. Zap them with the zapper and down them with spray. Use mosquito net and mosquito screen. Protect your household, now make them come in. If you no want pop down and fenke, you fi burn mosquito and run with dengue.
A message from the Ministry of Health.
Hurricane Melissa ravaged farmlands across the island, leaving a trail of destruction and great loss to farmers and the wider economy. Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green, outlines the extent of the damage sustained by the various sectors under his portfolio, which runs into billions of dollars.
The scenes of devastation and dislocation are beyond anything our sector or indeed our nation has endured in living memory. Hurricane Melissa has dealt a devastating blow to our agricultural sector, to our rural communities, to our farm families. Many of our farmers and fishers are dealing with loss of home and loss of livelihood. Their farms have been flattened, boats and marine gear ravaged. Still, the spirit of the Jamaican people reigns supreme. On Tuesday the 28th of October, Hurricane Melissa made landfall on Jamaica's southwestern coast as a Category 5 system with sustained winds in excess of 260 kilometers per hour. The parishes of Westmoreland, St. James, Hanover, St. Elizabeth and parts of Manchester, which are among our most productive, bore the brunt of the storm, and of course Trelawney, reversing hard-won production gains and posing immediate risk to food security, price stability and livelihoods. Prior to Hurricane Melissa members, the agricultural sector was experiencing robust growth. In fact, up to September 2025, we were 7% ahead of our best year ever. And based on our projections, our domestic crop production was estimated to reach 930,000 tons by year end, which would have been 10% above our record of 846,000 tons. Such growth represented significant progress towards our national food security goals and our rural development targets. However, regrettably, the hurricane's impact threatens to undo these gains, with serious implications for the wider economy. This late-season, high-intensity event is a stark reminder of the vulnerability of small island developing states, the reality of climate change, and the urgency of strengthening resilience as we respond to the immediate crisis. Our preliminary assessment, conducted in collaboration with RADA, NFA, NIC, Banana Board, and our other agencies, revealed approximately 41,390 hectares of farmland has been affected, impacting over 70,000 farmers with a loss of over 1.2 million animals, including small ruminants. The up-to-date assessments put the financial loss to the agricultural sector at $29.5 billion. The hurricane's wrath spared little in our agricultural sector. In relation to domestic crops, we lost about 32,400 hectares of our vegetable lines, amounting to an estimated $8 billion in loss, affecting 47,500 farmers. The crops that were most significantly impacted include sweet pepper, tomato, lettuce, cabbage, carrot, and vine crops like melon and cantaloupe also suffered a significant blow. Our banana and plantain crops, covering 2,450 hectares, have losses estimated at $2.9 billion, impacting 2,760 farmers. In fact, almost all our commercial banana and plantain crop has been negatively impacted. Fruit trees covering 1,870 hectares have damages estimated at $337 million, affecting 4,500 farmers. Unfortunately, our yam farmers were not spared Hurricane Melissa's blow. Tuber crops, yams, cassava, covering 4,670 hectares, have lost it estimated at $4.5 billion, impacting 6,120 farmers. Almost 70% of our yam crop for this year has been lost. Coffee has sustained a 40% damage to trees with a 40 to 45% loss of production at an estimated value of $800 million. In relation to livestock, our poultry sector was severely hit. We lost 458,000 layer birds, which is about 50%, a little bit more than 50% of our laying flock. We lost 780,000 broilers, amounting to about $2 billion in damage. To put into perspective, for Hurricane Beryl, in total, we lost about 300,000 birds. In this instance, we've lost over 1 million birds from Hurricane Melissa. We have reports of 3,560 small ruminants, 5,600 pigs, 2,850 cattle, combined losses of $3.1 billion. Our apiculture sector that sometimes is not spoken about a lot, but is critical to the agricultural ecosystem because of the roles of bees in our ecosystem, lost about 2,000 bee colonies, amounting to $74.5 million in damage. 38 greenhouses covering 56,000 square feet, about 337 kilometers of farm roads have been damaged, 217,1800 square feet of farm buildings, and the ministry itself, Madam Speaker. Places like Mount Pelion, Hounslow suffered tremendous infrastructural damage. Our export center at the Montego Bay Airport suffered tremendous infrastructural damage. In total, our ministry and agencies suffered infrastructure damage amounting to $1.5 billion. Our officials heeded our cause. To be honest, when I moved around before Hurricane Melissa, a number of them very early, from the Thursday or the Friday, had brought in their vessels, brought in their boats to distances, Madam Speaker, that would reasonably have them secure. However, the storm surge that came with this Category 5 hurricane was like nothing our officials have ever experienced. The National Fisheries Authority went out to 148 fishing beaches. Numerous of our most affected parishes have suffered infrastructural damage. In fact, in places like White House, Bluefields, complete devastation of the fishing infrastructure. Galleon Calabash Bay, you don't see the gear sheds that used to host our engines, and the same for Parity. In fact, we estimate about $2.74 billion in infrastructure damage to our fisheries sector. Our aquaculture sector suffered about $36 million in losses, affected about 41% of our fish farmers. Probably where our fishers suffered the most impact is the fact that we have accounted for 3,289 vessels that have been damaged or destroyed by Hurricane Melissa, which is actually 45% of our national fleet of fishing vessels, with losses estimated at $2.9 billion. Total impact on our fisheries sector is $5.76 billion. The mining sector suffered significant damage, particularly in the western region. The damage there was really concentrated on some of our major quarries, including quarries like Hodges, Coast to Coast, Limecore. A number of them suffered damage to office infrastructure, access road, and in some cases, significant damage to plants. Our bauxite and alumina sector would have suffered varying degrees of damage, some minor, some mid. However, the good news is that they all have embarked on rehabilitation work, and Windalco, Jamalco, and Discovery are operating as we speak. The damage is extensive and heart-wrenching. Yet the indomitable spirit of our farmers and fishers gives me hope that even amid the destruction, they are reassuring us that they are determined to rebuild their lives and keep food on our nation's table.
Jamaica Post is committed to being your preferred logistics partner. Enjoy the convenience of 3 to 5 days for international shipments at competitive rates and next business day delivery for local packages. Take advantage of our fast, reliable and ever-evolving services: zip mail, click and ship, fast track, EMS, parcel service, registered mail, corporate mail service and private letterbox. Access customer service support and track packages online. Visit our post offices island-wide and premium service centers at select locations. For more information, go to jamaicapost.gov.jm. Conditions apply.
Our half-hour journey through the pages of Jamaica Magazine ends right here for today. But please join us again tomorrow on this station for more news, features, and information you can use. In the meantime, visit our website at jis.gov.jm for this and other offerings. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Katie Aloy Knight. Till next time, take care and lend a helping hand where you can in this time of need.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.